Islands in 1835, and it was that visit that set him on the path of his brilliant insight into how evolution works. People are still going to the islands and still observing nature there, and Sally Kettle has a story of how, to this day, the changing natural environment in the Galapagos governs the wildlife in the islands.
The Pacific Ocean laps just before me and a warm breeze reminds me I'm in the tropics. But this is no beach holiday and there's not a tourist in sight, just the raucous barking of a sea lion pup intent on making himself heard across the entirety of the otherwise peaceful island I'm visiting. My loud companion is a Galapagos fur seal, which are found on most of the beaches and surrounding waters of the archipelago. They frolic above and below the waves and sleep languidly on hot rocks and warm sand. With their whiskered faces, enormous eyes, portly appearance and short flat tails, these charismatic mammals warmly remind me of my dogs at home. They're incredibly playful too. I've already been lucky enough to spend a few afternoons snorkeling with them. They dart at full speed towards my face, missing by smidgens as they ably duck and dive around me. On land, it's commonplace to find abandoned pups. To people, their high-pitched cries seem distressing, and it's tempting to scoop them up and comfort them. But touching any animal on the islands is strictly forbidden. My naturalist guide, Andres Mariano, reassures me this is completely normal. Fur seal mothers leave their young for around 2 weeks at a time to fish in the deeper ocean and build up their fat reserves, he says. The pups will be quite skinny by the time mum comes back. Fortunately for one such pup, the wait has paid off. A plump female hauls herself onto the beach, helped by an incoming wave. She's also barking loudly, with a markedly lower note as she seeks her baby from the many pups abandoned here. It doesn't take long before mother and baby are reunited and normal suckling resumes. This well-rehearsed ritual is likely to be rudely interrupted, though. Climatic events thousands of miles away have the power to transform this landscape. Some fear that by the end of the year there'll be no pups barking by the shoreline. A phenomenon called the El Niño Southern Oscillation has precipitated widespread changes in sea level pressure across Indonesia, Australasia, and the tropical Pacific. The effect can push warmer, nutrient-poor waters towards the Galapagos and influence the weather as far away as Europe. El Niños occur every 2 to 7 years, but the effect of the phenomenon is amplified by rising global climate change. In the Galapagos, a stronger El Niño generates significantly higher than average sea surface and air temperatures. These can be exacerbated by the arrival of the annual hot season around December. The ocean warms up, leading to increased rainfall as the hotter air holds more evaporated moisture. In a particularly intense El Niño year, the islands can expect 15 times as much rain as in a regular season. This is great for terrestrial animal populations like the land iguanas and land birds because plant growth explodes. But for sea life, the effect is likely to be catastrophic. With a shortage of essential nutrients, there is a sharp increase in marine mortality and breeding failure among these creatures dependent on the ocean, like marine iguanas, seabirds and of course the fur seals. In 1998, the islands experienced one of the most powerful El Niños on record. All of the fur seal pups died, as their mothers were unable to find food close enough to the islands, meaning the little ones were left alone for longer and died of starvation. The vast majority of the marine iguana population also perished, as the algae they scavenged from the seafloor failed to grow in the warmer waters. But the species hardest hit was the diminutive Galapagos penguin. Even now, its numbers have yet to return to pre-1998 levels. So naturalists are concerned about the viability of the species during this current El Niño and fear they could be pushed to extinction. For now, I sit with the seal pups on an island that has extraordinary changes to come. But this volcanic archipelago, shaped by lava and the sea, has weathered plenty of change in its time. It's in its nature.
Sally Kettle in the Galapagos.